Hey, it's Emmy.
And Amber.
And this is Death Before Decaf Paranormal. Hello, Beanie Baes. It has been a long time.
A very long time.
But we are excited to be back with this mini-sode.
Yeah. I mean, we decided to go somewhere that has been requested since we started this podcast.
And we were like, no. Demons.
And then we're like, well.
Demons. I mean, we went to Ray Harl, so like.
Exactly. We've had the worst of it.
Exactly. Anyway, so we're happy to be back, and we're going to talk about...
The Witch's Grave.
Yep. Y'all been asking for it, and so we finally decided to go, and it was cool. It's a graveyard.
We'll get into our experience later with it, but first...
Let's talk about the coffee of the day. What? I know, normally we don't do a coffee of the day for, like...
Minisodes.
But we were like, because we probably will be doing more minisodes than we thought we would.
Yes, and it's been so long that
I
wanted a really good
coffee,
latte. Yes,
so
exactly.
I provided the coffee today.
Yeah.
I have... loved this coffee. I found them a while ago. It's Leap Coffee Roasters. So Leap like leapfrog. And they are located in Oklahoma City. And we had their coffee blend called Shameless, which is part of their artist series blend, which is really cool because like as a fellow artist, I really like this kind of fundraiser, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, collaboration. Mm-hmm. So basically they got artists to like design the coffee beans they wanted and the logo or like the picture and everything. Mm-hmm. And some of the funds go to that artist.
Yeah, and this is, like, in general, the roaster's kind of your go-to now, right?
Oh, yeah,
like, you found them and you're obsessed with them.
Yeah, their signature espresso is divine. Like, it is Emmy's stamp of approval.
I was going to say, would you say that this is a dream bean? It
is Emmy's dream bean. But their espresso is. I love this coffee. This coffee's really good, but their espresso is my dream bean. Yes. This is second dream bean. Second place. Second place. So this is a light roast Indonesian blend. It has notes of cocoa, golden raisin, nutmeg with a bold finish. And so how we prepped it was we had small lattes, so like half Americano, half latte, whatever you want to talk, like whatever you want to call it, whatever. But we did oat milk, and I did honey like normal.
Oat milk baby.
Amber got me hooked. I've been drinking more oat milk lately because it's really good.
Yeah.
I still like my other milk, but it's fine.
It just adds something. It just complements. Especially this blend. I feel
like with this blend, it like literally makes it feel like
oatmeal.
Oatmeal, yeah. Like, yeah. It's like oatmeal.
Well, with the like nutmeg and the raisins, it's straight up oatmeal. And I will say, like, this is a great find because this is like my second place dream bean to my Olympias.
Really?
Like, you don't have to stamp it or nothing, but I'm just saying, it's like, it's way up there.
This is, I would say Leap Coffee Roasters is my dream bean. I will just say it right now. I have tried multiple beans everywhere. This is my favorite bean company, and so it gets my stamp of approval. Dream. Anyway, so we could talk more about that, forever, but we're going to go ahead and move on since this is a mini-sode, and we're going to go ahead and talk about the history of the Witch's Grave.
Yes, so I'm going to talk a little bit about the cemetery that the Witch's Grave resides in. So it's in Skiatook, Oklahoma. It's
in the middle of nowhere.
Literally nowhere. There's nothing.
Just cows.
Cows. Lots and lots of cows. Cute cows.
Cows are cute.
Cows are really cute. We saw some cuties. So the Hillside Mission was founded, so this is a Native American school, not the cemetery, but there was a Native American school called the Hillside Mission, founded in 1882 in Skiatook by Reverend John Murdoch. He was a traveling missionary from Pennsylvania, working with the Friends Society of Philadelphia. And the school was noteworthy because it was not segregated. So for that time, it was crazy. So both white and Native American children attended here. But, I mean, the purpose of the school was still to, like, convert the Native Americans to the white people.
Yeah!
Yeah, exactly. I was reading it and I went, yeah. And I was like, wait, hold on. The purpose of these schools. Anyway. But that, progress at the time, I guess.
So,
that was founded in 1882. And then in 1885, Hillside Cemetery was founded when a 17-year-old boy named Jesse Robnett died. So Murdoch called a meeting of all the members to decide on a location for the cemetery. And the present site of the cemetery was selected And then this kid, Jesse, was the first of 1,200 to have been buried there. And there's a lot of Native Americans that have been buried here. There's several chiefs that were really important in the community. And up until the time of establishing the Hillside Cemetery, there were no cemeteries in that county at all.
Well, I mean, yeah, you can see it when you drive to it. There's like nothing there.
So I don't know if it was like the first in that area. It sounds like it.
Well, it could have been.
It could have been. But they're said that there are like lone graves all over the county of people who were killed in like brawls and just like they were just throwing them, tossing them in a ditch.
Oh well.
Like, oh, killed that guy.
Another body.
So that's the brief and interesting, I guess, history.
I guess, yeah. I mean, okay, it's a graveyard. Like, there's not really, there's not really a lot of histories with those. But it's really weird. Like, I'm just gonna say, like, first of all, it's like you could miss it.
Yes.
Like, we were trying to find it, like, is it there yet? Is it there yet? We're like, we're driving into this neighborhood that has nothing but cows, and it's like, where is it? And all of a sudden, boom, there it is.
Yeah.
No sign, no nothing, just...
No, it's like, oh, hey, it's there.
Oh, hey. There's like not even really a fence.
Is this it? Yeah.
It was like a little brick entrance and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
No. And there's like 2 entrances and then like a back entrance that we went through.
And it's like one-way roads.
Yeah,
there,
like
which is not fun.
We'll talk about that in a little bit. But anyway, it's just like, it's a graveyard. It's a very small graveyard that clearly isn't being used for any, like, a whole bunch of new graves, right? Or is there new graves?
I mean, I think people are still being buried there, and it's being maintained.
Yes, it is being maintained.
So that's nice for a change.
Because there was, like, a building right next to it where they were selling, like, grave head, like, stones and everything, and there were people actually there. Yeah. So I think that it definitely is well maintained more than the last place we went to.
Oh, yeah. I think it's still considered an active cemetery, but don't quote me on that, I don't know. But it seemed like it may still be an active cemetery.
Personal opinion, it seems well maintained. That is not facts.
Yes. So now to get into like the
good stuff,
the meat of it, the meat. I'm getting in it. So we're gonna talk about the legend of the witch's grave. Like, if you're not from Oklahoma, you're like, what? Witch's grave?
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people know about the witch's grave in Oklahoma.
Yeah, it's one of the most like notarized, like haunted locations. Yeah. So here's the story. So the story goes that a local woman's husband suddenly... Why are you laughing?
Here's the story about a lovely lady. I'm sorry. Continue. I'm sorry.
Sure. Okay, so the story goes that a local woman's husband suddenly became sick and passed away on Valentine's Day. They'd been married for many years. Not being able to stand the grief, the woman kept her husband's body in their home and resorted to performing necromantic spells to bring him back to life.
Yikes!
Necromancy is never good.
No, just don't. Like, don't mess with the dead for multiple ways. Don't mess with the dead.
I mean, if they did even come back, they wouldn't be the same. And what Pet Sematary has taught me, and Buffy, and no, don't do it.
Literally any show or like podcast saying, just don't.
Yeah, just don't. So she started performing supposedly these necromantic spells on him, and the townspeople got word of what was happening, so they forcefully stole the husband's body from her and gave him a proper burial in Hillside Cemetery.
Which, I mean, okay, Oklahoma's very good about, covering shit up like that. For this, I think I would turn a blind eye about that, because, like, necrophilia. No, I almost said necrophilia. I corrected myself!
Oh my God.
We don't know.
Oh no.
I'm just saying, we don't know.
That's too far.
We don't know.
Too far. So, it is said that very night, the witch went to the grave and dug him up to bring him back home and keep performing her rituals to try to bring him back to life.
Yeah, her rituals.
And I think everyone can understand, like, this is relatable because you know what grief does to a person.
Right, yeah.
I totally understand someone just not being able to handle that loss and resorting to anything to bring the person they love back. Mm-hmm. I don't know, it hits
Personally,
me.
I wouldn't, but I'm not as...
Yeah, I mean,
romantic.
I wouldn't do it, but I couldn't say, like, if Bill died right now, would I? I don't know.
I would not let you. I wouldn't let you. If Bill died, I'd be knocking on your door and be like, give me the body! And you'd be like, no! Like, bitch, give me the body! Like, no, I wouldn't do that. That's a good friend right there. I wouldn't let you keep your dead husband's body.
You wouldn't let me perform necromancy. Well, that's good, I guess. We'll see. I mean, I don't want to
No,
see.
we'll not see.
I hope he dies before me. Anyway, this is very tangenting off the track.
We're doing a great job with this mini-sode already.
We're doing
Can you
super
tell
great.
it's been a while?
It's been quite a while. So she went and dug him back up and brought him back home, kept trying to bring him back. And the townspeople, again, were like, what the fuck? What's going on? And they went back and stole his corpse again and reburied him again. So the story varies here. So some say that it happened multiple times, like she came back and they buried him and she came back and got him again, and etc. And some say it was just like one time. But whatever the case was, his grave was eventually entombed in concrete by the townspeople to prevent her from digging up the grave.
They're like, bitch.
They're like, let's just pour some concrete on top of this guy. Yeah, now what?
She comes out with one of
With
those.
Yeah, the little hammer things.
Jackhammers, that's the word.
Yeah, jackhammer. Anyway, so there are words carved into the concrete. And there is a tomb there with concrete on top, and there are words carved into it.
Yep, this is true.
So this part, at least, is true. So there's a Bible quote. It says, "Can I bring him back again? I shall go to him. He shall not return to me." And that's what's visible today. But there's a full inscription, like more of that quote.
But it's very worn off by now.
It's very worn off, and it's kind of sunken in the dirt more, so some of the words are whatever. But so the legend says that a stick, she was there, well, no, her fingernails, sorry. So it's obviously a stick. But the legend says that she came to the grave and carved in this with her fingernails.
My precious. She's just carving it.
It definitely makes it spookier.
Yeah, but if you look at it, there's no way. It's
No,
way too clean for it to be a fingernail.
Yes, exactly. But they say she came back and while the concrete was wet, she stuck her fingernails.
Sure.
And now it is said that the witch guards the grave of her husband. Reports of shrieks and screams, footsteps, and even rocks being thrown at people who approach the grave are considered common, along with the feelings of extreme heaviness. There's been mist captured, orbs captured, voices, EVPs. It's said that anyone who touches the grave will be possessed by a demon or have their life ruined. So that is the story and legend surrounding the witch's grave in Skiatook. It varies from demons to the witch herself doing something to you. It's all this witches bull crap that Oklahoma is all about.
Yeah, which we've made very clear that we do not see that with witches
but Oklahoma.
Oklahoma, yeah.
Anyway.
So Amber, why don't you talk about what you found out though, or didn't find out, I guess.
Well, first maybe we should tell about what other people were saying that we know, right?
Yeah, we do know some people who've gone there
and frequented there. People have been telling me, you have to go, it's my favorite place. It's my favorite place I've ever been on any of our little ghost hunting adventures. It's just so hard to explain. You gotta go. And so it's been nagging at me. I'm like, well, this legend is really bitchin'. I would like to talk about this legend. Check it out.
But I was kind of I don't want to do it because it's demons. Because that was my... Amber was very much we could. And I was like, no.
Well, I'm not messing with it. But if I go to with a place of respect, I don't touch the grave at all.
Right,
which is what
touch your grave, you get to possess. Okay, I'm not gonna do that.
Exactly. Oh, and just to mention some a-holes. So people who are visiting, and people like to make videos when they go, and during my research, I found quite a few people who were very, very, very disrespectful.
Yes.
People standing on the grave, jumping up and down, just ooh, come get me.
Come get me,
demons.
Yeah.
And I'm
thinking they're Shane or some shit.
Exactly.
I don't even think Shane would do that.
No, Shane wouldn't. He
wouldn't.
He's not disrespectful. He is in his
To the goat man,
words
but
in a way, but he's not gonna actually deface
No.
a grave.
And even when we went there, there were a ton of offerings too, pennies and stuff like that. But there were also a ton of cigarette butts everywhere.
Right. So it's also said, I forgot to mention that if you do bring an offering, a lot of people will bring an offering to the witch and ask for help in some aspect of their life.
What's she gonna do?
That's why a lot of people bring it.
But that's what I'm saying though, is I saw a ton of cigarette butts and little cigarette burns on the grave. And I'm like, are you kidding me?
People are putting out out their cigarettes on the grave. People are throwing stuff at it, standing on it, hopping on it.
I mean, you can, I'm not encouraging it because I don't want them to get views, but there are, you can look up videos and find these videos, these people. And if you do, go ahead and put the thumbs down button. Because that was...
It's not okay.
No, it's not. Like, I'm not even gonna, pretend like I didn't just say that, because, don't do that.
No, that's just...
would you do that to your grandma? Oh, my God. I wouldn't do it to my grandma's grave if she died.
No.
I would not do that.
I just feel like that is so disrespectful, no matter if this legend's true, if this legend's false, and especially if it's false. You're jumping up and down on a guy's grave, being like, yo, come out. That is so disrespectful.
So just don't do that. But
so
anyway.
That leads me into my findings when I dug deep into the story that no one else really apparently likes to dig deep into because it's too cool of a story and they don't want to disprove it. So the grave in question belongs to a man named Abel G. Parkhill, who liked to go by Jack. You can still...
He wants to call me Jack. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. But that is still visible in the grave, so you can obviously see this is whose grave it is. Is this guy named Abel. Jack. I'll call him Jack. So he was born in 1858, and he passed away at the age of 71 in 1930. Well, I dug into his records, and it looks like he was married to a woman named Jenny Thornton Parkhill. And she was born in 1848, my bad, and passed away 5 years earlier than Abel in 1925, around age 76, 77.
So she died before him?
So right away, you're hitting a red flag here.
Yeah.
Yes, his wife, at the time of his death, or, he was widowed, but his wife, up until the time of his death, she passed away 5 years before him. So immediately, I'm like...
Who's the witch?
Supposedly it was a married couple, he died, she had grief, did all these things. But it's proven that he was married to someone who passed before he did. And she had one son from previous marriage, she had 2 daughters with Abel, and she is also buried in Hillside Cemetery with a dual marker with her son from her first marriage.
Which we couldn't find that grave. We looked everywhere.
Yeah, we couldn't find it.
Let me phrase that. We didn't really look hard. We had to pee really bad, so we just kind of were like, I know, we go to a graveyard, we have to pee constantly.
Immediately.
Anyway, we were there, so we were like, oh, I don't see it, let's go.
Yeah, so we tried, but I did find photos and stuff, it is
She
there.
is there, but...
She is there, and if you're going by this lore, then that would be the witch's grave, but she died before him, so it makes no sense. So anyway, she passed before him, they had kids who one lived until the 80s, I think. This conflicts everything.
Yeah.
And we know for a fact that Abel's grave is the one considered the witch's grave, or, witch's husband's grave is what they're even referring to in the first place.
Yeah. They're showing it to witch's grave.
Yeah, so how is it that his wife, who passed 5 years earlier, could possibly be the witch? This cast so much doubt for me.
I mean, and we talked about it when you were like, okay, there's something weird going on. You told me all about this. So we kind of went into this investigation more open-minded, being is there a witch, or is it just all a hoax? Is this fake news that someone made to make, because, oh, look at this cool, weird grave thing that's
yeah, is it
different from the other ones.
A small town legend, spooky legend, because
just blown out of proportion.
They had nothing else going on. Because, it's been told for a long time. I couldn't find, the originating time period, but it's been a long time.
So then we also were like, okay, but, what if, Oklahoma way, what if it was, covered? And it's, they were like, oh, let's cover it. It's say it's this person instead. Let's put this other guy's name on it. That way people don't think it is the witches. The people get, you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
They're just trying to deter people from going there, which didn't work in the end. But, so we kind of went in there open-minded of okay, this could be not real, or it could be real. Let's see what we can get to kind of confirm.
Right, and there were also, there was another aspect to the legend, about the ending of the legend. Some were like, oh, she, scrawled that in there, it was sad. Other people said that they hung her by the tree by the grave, and there is a tree by the grave, but that they hung her because she wouldn't stop.
Which I will say, I'm sorry, if someone got hung, you would feel that energy. I mean, we felt it when we went and saw Bland's grave.
Bland.
we went and saw her grave, and like we felt just like, not like, you know, our throats or anything like that, but just that like heavy, sad feeling. And I didn't get that at all with this that tree or anything. No. And Amber and I are pretty in tune spiritually with that. So I mean, that's, you know, again, take a grain of salt with evidence, but yeah, I don't necessarily think that is true personally.
I personally don't believe that part either. I mean, I don't know. And yeah,
we don't know.
Oklahoma covers a lot of things up here. I went in with a kind of open mind, but I was leaning towards the no side because the dates don't line up. And that guy, you know, Jack never remarried between his wife's death and his death. Like,
it doesn't make sense.
Doesn't make sense. And I mean, you do a search and you can automatically find out, oh, hey, this doesn't line up. So I'm not sure why this legend's been perpetuated for so long, but it's also worth noting that this is not the only legend attached to the cemetery. It's also said that a teenage boy died in a car wreck very close to the cemetery in the 70s. He's said to be seen walking the roads around the cemetery, and some even connect this to the witch's grave legend. They say like the teenager was messing around with a witch's grave, and as he drove off, the collision was caused by her vengeful spirit and stuff. But I looked that up too. I dug as much as I could. I mean, it's hard when you're talking about car wrecks because there's so many car wrecks that happen every day.
I mean, I forgot to tell you this, but when we were driving to the grave, we passed over that really creepy bridge. The bridge that gave us a weirder vibe than any of the graveyard did. There actually was one of those like little memorial areas next to it. So there was obviously a crash there. I don't know if it was that kid, but there was a crash there. But again, it's kind of a tight bridge, so I feel like anyone could crash there. Yeah. But it could have been him, and it was like a little far, like close, but like far enough away from the graveyard.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like this is so long.
I know.
That, I mean, maybe people would still be coming out, but I don't know. I couldn't find any. Not saying that someone didn't pass away in a car wreck around there around that time. Just all the associates with
the story.
But I think they just added that in there.
So people were getting bored, and they're like, "Oh, what if we told you that?"
Yeah, exactly. So, well, that's the history. That's the legend. That's my findings. And now I guess we should get into our experience.
Which isn't a whole lot, for being honest. So, yeah. I'll just be honest. I'm going to come out straight and just say it for me personally. I don't know what Amber's opinion is or anything. But my opinion is, I think the whole witch thing is completely a hoax. I think it's a legend. I think a guy made a joke to his kids about it, like, oh, yeah, it's witch's grave, don't mess with it, and like, to get his kids to stop messing with it, and it just blew out of proportions, like everything does in Oklahoma. Yeah. And it's one of those that, you know, why not? Just leave it alone. It's in a small place in Skiatook. There's no one there. So I don't necessarily believe that the witch side of the story is real.
I personally agree, especially after doing my research and then visiting. I can say I think it's all just a BS tale. It'd be cooler if it was real. I'd love to come to you guys and be like, look, this happened. This is proof. Like,
that's honestly what we were kind of hoping for.
I was really hoping that this would end up being true, but I personally think it's a small town legend.
I do too. But I will say that just because we don't believe that the witch thing happened, I can't say for sure that like there aren't demons there that, you know, because if you're gonna desecrate a grave, you're gonna get bad like mojo no matter what.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, I saw a lot of people who had experiences here that I do believe and I do think were valid.
But I don't think it had to do with a witch.
No,
anything like that.
I mean, I saw people who had like this really strange mist that was just like following them. I saw orb photos, like.
Which, I mean, it's a graveyard though. Like,
yes, exactly.
And we'll kind of go into our experience with the graveyard, like not anything to do with the story, just the graveyard in general. Yes. We'll go more in detail that in a minute. But like, it's a graveyard. You're gonna see mist. You're gonna see orbs. It's a graveyard.
Especially one that old.
Yeah, like.
It's so old. It's one of the first cemeteries in Skiatook. It's gonna be old.
Anytime you and I go to an old graveyard, we always find like really cool EVPs because there's lingering spirits.
Yeah, and I mean at this time too, like when it was founded, Native American children were buried there. White children were buried there. It was, you know, they had the famous chiefs that were buried there. There's a lot of energy attached to it because, you know, Native Americans can be so spiritual. And I think that a lot of stuff...
Especially with, like, the whole legend, like, how it started and everything, I could definitely see, like, residual energy there with Native Americans because of, like, just feeling wronged and everything.
I don't know. I just feel in general, I get some more activity when we go to places, Native American sites, because I feel like they're much more in tune with nature and much more in tune with energy and everything around them, that there's more residual things left.
I felt very, when we first went into there, I had definitely had a feeling of like, oh God, there's something here. Like I had the like feeling of like pressure in my chest. But once I like had my feet on the ground, I definitely felt like a connection. So, which I have Native American genes, and so like, and you do too, and so we have that connection that we can understand. So like, I guess we can kind of, since we're talking about, we can go into detail about our experience then.
Yeah.
So like, weirdest thing, was we pull in and I'm like, we're trying to find this grave. Like, it's impossible to like find the actual grave of like location.
There's no map.
No, so it's just like, oh, here's what it looks like. Okay, find it.
It's
so
a
like,
decently sized cemetery.
Yeah,
too.
and we're like, oh, it's next to a tree. We'll find it. And then there's like 5 trees, and we're like, shit.
There was like 12
so many
trees.
So like, we're driving all around and everything. Finally, we just parked the car because we're like, okay, there's really nowhere to drive because, like we said, it's a very narrow road, barely a 1-car drive.
Yeah.
And there was a ton of sunken graves like near the roads. I didn't want to go off-roading and accidentally, trample on a grave. So we've parked the car and we walk out, and it was very weird energy. Like a lot of times when Amber and I go to places like this, like graveyards
like
and stuff, cemeteries and everything, we definitely feel that like detachment, like immediately my like feet chakra, like my root chakra completely closes. I feel it, my feet get cold, and I feel like that's my body kind of protecting me from like the lingering spirits underneath, like, because like if you I talk to my sister about this all the time, who like was kind of into that kind of stuff, and I always feel that emotion. However, this was a little different. When I came out, I was like, we were pumped, like we were so excited going there.
Yeah,
like we were pumped. We were listening to music. We were like, woohoo, let's go.
We were road tripping.
Yeah, we were road tripping because it was a long drive, and we were really excited. And it was like, we talked about like how we were gonna go about investigating. We talked about the story. We had some chicken nuggets. We were happy.
Oh yeah, chicken nuggets, coffee. We
We
ready.
were pumped, and then
we were focused.
we were clear. We were focused. We were like, this is gonna be the episode.
Like, we're back, baby.
Yeah, we're back, baby. We were back, and like we were gonna come in hot, and then we get there, and we were not connected. Amber and I are very in tune. We're best friends, so like we're very in tune.
Yeah.
So we get there and we walk out of the car, and I immediately feel her like detach from me.
It was the weirdest feeling. Like I almost felt like I was separated from my body. Like I wasn't moving on my own. I'd floated up and was looking down at myself. I astral projected or some crap. I don't know.
And it seemed like that because like I kept going like Amber and talking to her, and she was not responding. She just kept wandering around.
Yeah, and it was really weird because I honestly hardly have a memory of that part of
Really?
it. Yeah, like I remember being so spacey. And, like, I could not focus on anything.
Okay, well, then I'll tell you. You were walking, like, in weird patterns all around. Like, you were walking on graves, which is so not like you. I had to tell you, Amber, get off that grave. You have to stay in a line. And you were just, like, you were fumbling all over the place.
I don't know. I never do that. I almost felt like, it wasn't, like, a disoriented necessarily. I just felt not there, not present, which was so weird. I mean, like, I've got bad anxiety, and I've got a lot going on in my life right now. So, at first I was like, oh, it must just be my anxiety. It must just be, like, thinking about other things.
And, I mean, when we did pull up, there was a car that tried to come in. And so there was, like, anxiety with
I
that.
have a really bad social anxiety.
But luckily they left, so we think that they were going to mess with the witch's grave. So if anything, we helped.
Probably, yeah. So, but I thought maybe it was that. Because sometimes I get anxious that someone's going to come and be like, what are you doing? Like, I don't like...
Conflict.
Yeah. But it just felt like something different, and I was so spaced out, and then Amy was like getting angry.
And that's like, I get irritated with you. I'm gonna be honest. I get irritated with Amber, and that's fine. Like, that's our relationship. She gets anxious and everything, and I have anxiety too, but mine tends to come more in like lashing out in anger. So I was getting a little irritated with her, but then it like formed to more anger. Like I was like, I wanted to like shove her into a tree. Like I was mad at her.
God.
No, like that's how I felt. Like I really felt like I was like, oh my God, like I wanted to shake you and be like, can you just listen to me? And I think I even raised my voice. Like,
you
Amber,
did. Yeah.
and I don't raise my voice at you often.
No.
So like. But it was just like so much anger. So finally I was like, forget it. Let's go back in the car. So we went back in the car, and immediately we went back in the car, we felt fine.
Yeah, we took a breath, and then I was like, no, I'm okay now, I'm okay. Because she's like, are you okay? Like, what is your deal? And I'm like, I don't know,
I just feel
sorry.
like I was losing you. Like, I told her, I was like, I feel like I'm losing you. Like, you're, like, leaving. She's like, I don't know, I don't feel like I'm here. I don't feel like, I think something's wrong. And what's really interesting is that when we looked over evidence, when we first were walking around, we had our new S-Box out. Yeah. And we were listening to that and everything. And, when we were listening to it, it like changed frequencies apparently, which I didn't notice when we were walking around, but I timed it with when we were walking around and Amber started getting disoriented and everything.
Yeah, because when we first started walking out, it was fine.
It was like, oh, it's a little off, but nothing bad. Well, right, the times matched perfectly with Amber getting weird, me getting angry, and then all of a sudden our S-Box was just like not like working. Like it was like weird high-pitched sounds and like not sweeping anymore.
Yeah,
and it was
weird
like
frequency.
which we never had before, and why it would do it right there in the middle of the graveyard, it just seems weird. So we think maybe some phase through, I don't know, that's up to your opinion, but if you need more information, I can't edit that audio clip. It is another corrupted audio. I can listen to it.
Yeah, luckily we still have it.
I have it. I can listen to it. It didn't break the machine like the last voice recorder, but it will not let me edit it. And it will literally load up till that point and stop. So I don't know what to go with that, but it's very weird. So anyway, we were just, feeling off. So we went back in the car and just to kind of get our, like, okay, what's happening? Like, we were super focused. We had a plan. Everything's going shit. What's happening?
Yeah.
So finally we were like, okay, let's just drive around and try to find the grave. Stop wandering around this gravesite or cemetery, because we need to just find like why we're here.
Because I'm losing it, you're getting mad, and we're like not meshing.
And so when we did that, we immediately, like, Amber has a protection. What's your necklace again? It's like it's a nail or...
Oh yeah, so I got this gift from my other best friend and my sister Katie. It is a coffin nail. It's a restored coffin nail from the early 19th century. But they symbolize good luck and protection. It's supposed to protect you from like bad energy, bad things happening to you. So I was wearing that.
And she like held on to that when we were in the car, and like I did like a quick prayer, and we were just like, okay, let's like balance everything out. So we did all of like our protection stuff, we did all of our prayers, and just...
I put my copper
in her... Oh yeah, she just goes, I put copper in my shoe. I was like, do what you need to do.
I don't know, I felt like I needed to put my copper in my shoe, so I did.
And as soon as she did that, she felt fine, and everything was good. We found the grave, we get there, and we were a lot more focused.
Yeah.
We had to pee, but we were more focused.
Yeah, we were holding it anxious, but not
the same way. And so part of me wonders if maybe we didn't get any demonic reactions because of all the protection we had. So, because we kind of talked about that vaguely, like maybe if we hadn't protected ourselves and like prayed or like had any of the protection stuff we had, maybe we wouldn't have, or maybe we would have had like more encounters with demons, but because we were protected, we didn't. And like, maybe that's the case. Maybe that's why some people had more interactions than we did.
And that we were respectful about it, and we didn't go tampering with it or anything.
So maybe that's the case, but honestly, I wouldn't trade that. I don't want to fuck with demons.
No. Well, that was one of my things too. I was like, okay, if we're gonna go, this is how we're gonna do it. Because I wasn't gonna risk it in case it was true.
And I definitely was not either.
No.
So anyway, we wonder if that's like some of the issues with like not getting any really quote unquote big evidence. We caught some really cool EVPs after the fact when we were at the actual gravestone.
A lot more than I thought we would, because I remember when we were out there, we're like, man, this is quiet for a graveyard.
Oh yeah.
Like this is, normally we have like constantly, a word or two coming in here and there, like all the time. And this was just seemed more quiet, but after reviewing the evidence, we got a lot more than I realized at the time. I was like, oh man, are we even going to be able to make an episode out of this?
But I mean, so like every graveyard, you're going to get a ton of like one words. Like we got like, like hungry, cold, blah, like, and we get that a lot. Like that's anywhere we go, we'll get like one word, very sad one words. We try not to talk about those because we don't, if it's more than one word, I see that more as evidence to just one word, unless it's like a super clear word.
Right.
But for the most part, we kept hearing similar voices, which is also a really big clue for us. Like the same voice over and over again.
Right, the same voice at different times in different locations, like multiple words. Like we definitely can count that more as evidence, because what are the odds? Like that's something would come through multiple times.
Exactly, and like we'll go over more of the evidence and stuff. Like I'll put it in videos and everything. But we, one of the biggest things was when we tried to contact the quote unquote witch. At the graveyard, because like we kind of went in and be like, okay, let's see if we can find evidence on this witch or her husband or anything. And I didn't, in the video you'll hear us being like, did it say witch? And like, because we were asking questions and it sounded like a man going like, the witch.
The witch? Is that what you said?
Question mark, like he's like asking us. And so I was like, yeah, like we're here because of the witch, like the rumors of that, but we wouldn't want to like, go into that. And he was like, leave. Like he did not want to talk to us, and they stopped talking to us.
Yes, as soon as we said like why we were there, it was like they shut down. I just feel like they're upset that they're being disturbed, and especially if this is false.
Yeah, wouldn't that be like really shitty? Like you're like, all right, I'm in the afterlife, like I'm at peace.
I died at like 70. I had a full life.
I had a full life. I was doing my thing, and then like a rumor goes around. Also, there's kids stomping on my grave. Like that would suck.
Putting out your cigarettes on it, throwing shit at it. Like I cannot even imagine. I'd be pissed. Like
honestly, like, and that's what makes me wonder if like people are like, well, I felt like, because I heard like people like I've been pushed, like,
or things where rocks were thrown at me.
Well, yeah,
they're probably like GTFO.
I would do that to you personally. Like, so a lot of like the rumors that people like or experiences that other people have, I've wondered if, I don't know what they do, and some people may not be as rude as the people we saw on the video.
I'm sure there's respectable people that come that bring her or him. It's his grave. I don't know what the deal is, but bring offerings of a kind. But like, I just feel like the majority of people approach it like, ooh. Yeah.
And like some of the evidence we caught made it very clear. Like I remember we're like, hey, like we're not going to be super disrespectful. If you want us to leave, we'll leave. Like we give the spirits like the right to tell us to leave, especially when we're visiting their graveyard or gravestone, because that's their spot. So we're always like, don't follow us, but if you want us to leave, we'll leave. And when we asked them like if they wanted to relay a message to anyone who's thinking about going or the people who went, and a lot of the voices we got, like one said, let them rest. Like a woman's voice came through, which is really weird because we had not heard a woman's voice at all. And all of a sudden, a woman's voice is like, let them rest. Yeah,
it was towards the end of it. Like, this was the first time we heard that voice. And then when we did hear it, we heard it multiple times. And it was, at the end when we were like, okay, we're realizing what's going on here. Yeah. This is all bullshit.
This is bullshit. Like, you're just normal people who are getting their gravestone trampled on for no reason.
You're just really unlucky people that happen to be who they, chose.
And you're angry, and that's and that's totally valid. And so they were like, let them rest, and then like a male's voice came through, probably the male voice that like is lay there.
Probably Jack
himself, and it was like, go on get, like go on get out or something like that.
Go on, it was like
go on get out.
Go on get.
Go on get out. And go on get. So we took that evidence, and like what's really cool is like that evidence we reviewed, we listened to, like that was clear, and in real time we actually heard through the S-Box the same voice. Like we actually heard them talking.
Yeah.
So I would say that's probably our most concrete evidence was when we were like, what do you want?
Yeah, what do you want us to tell people about this? And
they were like, leave, don't come here.
Please don't come here. Don't deface our graves. Don't make this a big thing. Like, let us rest.
And so this is us coming to say, stop going to this place.
Please let them rest. Please.
We do not think, it's a cool story. You talk about it. If you are wanting to talk about the story just to talk about it like we are, go and look at it, but do not mess with the grave. Don't even try to connect with them. They're just trying to rest. Like, can you imagine being dead for, God, how long were they got dead for?
Since 25, 30.
And they're having to deal with the same bullshit every day. Like, just leave them alone.
Just please. I
know there's not a lot to do in Oklahoma, but don't do this.
I know it's tempting to go. And if you're going to go and just be respectful and sit there next to the grave and just, like...
Talk with them, that's fine. But
please don't be disrespectful. Please don't put out your cigarette butts on their grave, stand on their grave, touch their grave, yell and scream for the witch to come get you. Like, that's not okay.
There is no witch. There's no witch.
No.
There's none.
There's not. I mean, I completely believe that this was a small town local legend. And yeah, I believe people are having experiences here.
Because it's a graveyard.
It's a graveyard, and that's going to happen, especially if you've got a spirit that's upset that people are coming here and bothering him all the time.
You're going to reap what you sow. Like, that's a life lesson. Like, if you're going to mess with this grave, the spirit's going to get mad and it's going to throw a rock at you.
Right. And it didn't seem like he was, like, super hostile or anything.
He was annoyed.
Like, distraught and frustrated.
Tired.
Like, please just go. Like,
because, like, we were getting, like, some small, like, comments here and there from him of just being like, yep, Like, he was like, yes, yes, ma'am. Like, we were getting a lot of comments back. But as soon as he was like, the witch? And we were like, yeah, he did not want to talk with us. Like, he knew. He was like, oh, these people aren't actually here for me. They're here to talk about this stupid story that is not real.
Honestly, I felt bad. Like,
me too. We didn't stay for very long. Which we traveled a while to get there. It was like 45, 50 minutes to get there.
Yeah.
And almost an hour, and we get there, and we were there for like, what, 20 minutes? Like, actually, obviously not in the car.
30, yeah.
23 minutes, that's it.
I just felt really bad. And we came, we were super, super respectful. We weren't like, hey, the witch is, the witch is
I wonder
crazy.
Which, like, no.
We didn't, we were like, is this true? What's going on? Do you want to say anything? But I still felt so bad that we went out there and we bothered them and we continued on this, like, perpetuation of this legend.
Yeah.
And it bothered me.
So we were debating if we should even do this episode, because we were like, we don't want to encourage anyone to go. But we decided to talk about it because we were like, you know what, I feel like, and you had said, I really feel like we need to go. Like, you encouraged me, because I did not want to go. I was like, no, after all the things I heard, I don't want to go. That was, like, on the list of no's.
Well, I think I just felt like there's something there, but I didn't necessarily feel like it was the legend. Like,
she just kept saying, I feel like I need to go. I feel like I
need to go. And maybe we needed to go so we can tell you,
don't go!
Please don't go.
There's no reason. It's not
if you want a cool cemetery, go check out the cherubs at the last cemetery we did. That's amazing.
Those spirits are very eager to talk to you.
They want to talk. They're mostly friendly. They're, like, making jokes. They, like, I mean, obviously be respectful as always, but go check out those bitchin' cherubs.
Yeah, like, go there. Don't go to this one. Like, and if you go to this one, just leave that particular grave alone.
Yeah, please.
Because
it's not even that scenic of a cemetery. No. It's just a traditional cemetery. So please don't go to this one. I mean, I don't know.
If you're our fans, don't go. Period.
Yeah, please don't go.
If you love us and you want our love, don't go. Period.
Yes, please.
All right. Well, I mean, it's a pretty long mini-sode.
Oops. Well, it's been so long. It's like fine. We want to talk.
Honestly, who cares? Like, y'all don't care. You guys are happy that we're here. We're happy to be here.
Medium-sode.
Medium-sode.
Mini-sode.
But anyway, so what did we learn? We learned that this coffee's really kicking, bitchin', awesome coffee.
This is a kicking
bitchin'.
Kicking cup of coffee.
Kicking cup of coffee. And don't go to this grave.
Yes, really cool legend. Now you know the story. Now people mention the witch's grave, you go, oh, I know about that. And you'll say, actually,
the
facts are that these are the dates and it's not real.
It's not real. So
stay
you're
out,
stinky.
Yeah.
So,
but, we're glad to be back.
Yes, we are.
And we have a lot of cool, fun things planned.
Mm-hmm.
And
one of them being, do you want to say?
Me?
Yeah.
My thing?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're working on an episode where I'm going to recount my tales growing up in a haunted house.
Woo woo!
A very, very, very haunted house. Before I even knew what ghosts was, I was having experience. And
it's a very personal story, though.
It's very personal, and I've never told it to many people because I sound like a nutcase. But I am going to talk, and if I don't have on-air interviews, I'll at least have some interviews with my dad, my mom, experiences that we shared when we all saw the same thing, said it separately, and just Whew. There's a lot there. It is quite a story, and I'm kind of excited to get it off my chest in a way. I've never been able to openly...
I've been trying to encourage you to talk about it, and she's like, I don't know, I'm not ready. But I think, you know, like, well, right now, we are recording in Amber's new house. She finally moved in, everything's worked out. We're in her house, a beautiful house.
And guys, it's not haunted here.
No, it's not.
It's so nice.
Unfortunately. Anyway.
No, not unfortunately.
But, so we're in her new house, so now I feel like you feel like, okay, I can do this now.
I think so.
You have a stable place you're living, you feel like you can let this go.
Yeah, because it's something that I've held on to for a long time, and honestly, I mean, it traumatized me. It full-on traumatized me, and when I left, I really shut myself off to anything spiritual. Like, I did not want to connect with spirits. I did not want to...
It's true.
You know, I've got a lot of things in my family history we'll discuss that make me a little bit closer to things like this, and I was still having experiences, but I was ignoring them and not acknowledging them and blocking them out because I did not want a repeat of what happened when I was a kid. And I feel like it would be nice to talk to you guys and tell someone who's not going to think I'm a nutcase and is actually interested. Tell them the story.
You're a stronger person you were back then too.
Oh yeah, and
like,
I mean,
you're more confident in you as a, you know, not just being Amber, but also being a spiritual, like being. I don't know what word.
Yes, I definitely think I've grown and changed, and probably a lot of what I went through there made me who I am today. Honestly, it's gonna be a good episode, guys.
So be on the lookout for that.
Please listen to me ramble about it's a crazy haunted home I grew up in. So yeah, look out for that. I'm excited to share it with you guys.
And we have a couple of other really cool locations we're gonna go try out. So we are, now that Amber's settled in her new home, we are both working, so it's also, you know, we're working on our schedules, which is why it's been taking so long for us to get an episode out.
Yes.
But be on the lookout because we are going to come out with really cool locations and really cool stories for you guys.
We're gonna come back with a bang really soon. I think we're in a good place now where we can just hit it rolling and yeah.
So I guess we can end this episode. This not very mini-sode here.
Medium-sode,
Medium-sode.
Metasode.
I like medium-sode, I like that.
Okay.
This medium-sode.
This medium-sode.
But till then,
stay spooky.
And caffeinated.
Bye.